as we lead. All right, so there you go. Good evening. Welcome to our City Council meeting this October 6, 2025. I hope everybody had a good weekend. We'll start it off with the invocation and pledge by Councilmember Cheryl.
Good evening, friends. You're welcome to join me in prayer. Lord, we're thankful for our homes, our labor, and our city, Clemson. Please look with favor on our community, protect our citizens and our leaders, so that we can be a blessing to others. Thank you for the hard work and sacrifice of all those who serve Clemson and all those who live in Clemson. May you generously give to each of us wise and discerning hearts to lead. We ask for a spirit of unity, so that with one heart and mind, we can work together for the good of all those in our community. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll go straight into public session. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is a time we make available for anybody in the audience who would like to make a comment about items that are not on the agenda. We will, if you want to make comments about something that is on the agenda, we will provide time when we reach there. So it's timely, it's on our mind when we're discussing that point. So at this point, I will open the floor for public session. I will say we had some online submissions that I will read to make sure that they're in the record, and then we will go to the sign-in sheet and then to the public. Is Mr. Howell present? No, okay. The first submission is from Mr. Howell on Pool Lane. He writes, support for a safe and timely opening of the Clemson Skate Park. Dear Mayor and members of the Clemson City Council, my name is Robert Howell and I live at 121 Pool Lane here in Clemson. I want to express my appreciation for the incredible investment our city has made in the new Clemson Skate Park. It's an exciting and positive addition to our community that will serve families, kids, and adults for years to come. That said, I strongly support finding a safe and responsible solution that allows our community to begin using the park now while the final phase of construction is underway. It's been several months since the park was completed, and the continued closure is discouraging for so many young people who have waited patiently and simply want a place to ride safely and legally. I appreciate the city's commitment to safety and liability concerns, but I believe we can balance those with reasonable access. The skate park represents healthy recreation, community engagement, and a positive outlet for our youth, exactly what we need more of in Clemson. Thank you for your time and your dedication to making Clemson a vibrant and active place to live. And again, this is from Mr. Powell at Pool Lane in Clemson. The second comment comes from Mr. Ware on Holiday Avenue. He writes, this letter addresses the substance of the City of Clemson's current and future development, not any specific project. Clemson University student attendance has increased in recent years and will continue increasing in the future. There's no indication the university will provide housing to meet this growth. Clemson University is the primary economic generator for the city, and without it, we would not be what we are today. Over the last 3 years, we have heard or seen published comments about the city, such as, but not limited to, we need smart growth, all of this student housing and no benefit, not enough parking, too much traffic, and not enough affordable housing. Smart growth, when Fountain Residential Partners initially introduced Dockside to the small homes on Holiday Shores community off 123, a major uproar arose due to the proposed size, density, and proximity to the quaint, quiet, established neighborhood. For over a year before ground broke, conflict grew between the developer, the city, and citizens. While there are a few other citizens in opposition, most were from Holiday Shores. We were labeled the NIMBY Not in My Backyard group. I personally was labeled the vocal obstructionist. For the Holiday Shores neighbors, the construction process was long, messy, noisy, especially for those residing directly across the small two-way street in front of their homes. Due to unknowns, the neighbors of Dockside were quite anxious. However, since Dockside opens its doors in the fall of 2022, Holiday Shores discovered a new normal, sharing their Holiday Shores with Dockside residents. Residents of Holiday Shores have enjoyed the convenience of small businesses such as Your Pie, Tap In Brews, Coyote Coffee, Dazzle Nails, Hit Burger, Hot Works, and others. There are usually minor challenges with each new semester, but most all the students we have met are interesting, a delight to know, and respectful. In my opinion, we have not experienced conflicts or problems to the extent we were initially led to expect. If we had known 30 years ago the city would need student housing for 25,000 students, I believe we would be a very different Clemson. Smart growth would have directed student housing to be built as close as possible to the university, built for walking instead of driving, for longevity and amenities daily sustaining a student's life necessities. Instead, we have sprawling housing not only throughout our city, but all surrounding communities and neighboring towns. Cars for every student are encouraged, instead of walking to classes, study facilities. And who knows, Dockside may have been a luxury destination hotel boasting Michelin 5-star restaurants, entertainment, and boutiques. Recognizing a bright future and well-being for Clemson is desired by all. We have some very important questions to consider before regretting mistakes of location and construction. If not downtown, where do we put student housing? What is the public benefit from a development to the area it's located? What city tax increase would be needed to cover costs of a proposed benefit? I will say this is in the record, and the council members, you all have a copy of this. So again, thank you, Mr. Ware from Holiday Shores. Those are the only written comments for that section. Now I'll go to the sign-in sheet.
I'll highlight it for later on.
Perfect. Okay, I will go to Miss Stephanie Platt.
Stephanie Platt, Mountain View Lane. I was just wondering when the town of Calhoun sign will be put up, the new one, because evidently it was vandalized and it hadn't been replaced yet.
It's on order.
Okay.
It's being produced. I hope soon.
Now, is the town of Calhoun, is it on like a historical registry?
I don't know.
Okay, if not, I mean, could the city of Clemson possibly put it on a historical registry?
Possibly. I'd have to research it.
Okay, thank you.
Could you be loud enough for the whole entire audience to hear, please?
Thank you, Ms. Platt. Next, we have Mr. Healy.
Good evening, Bob Healy, 140 Folger Street. For a while, I had been accumulating glass bottles and hoping to find a place to recycle them. Unfortunately, that's been to no avail, so today I took all the bottles up to the Pickens Recycle Center and dropped them in the compactor with the trash on their way to the landfill. It made me feel really bad to have to do that. I'm fortunate, I am retired, so I had the time to take my other recyclables, the plastic bottles, tin cans and stuff, up to the university's recycle center, which I'm very glad that they offer that to us. But I can do that, a lot of people cannot do that. They have other obligations and they just can't go up on a Saturday perhaps, they have other things to do. So a lot of well-meaning people will be throwing their recyclable items into the garbage. And everybody recognizes the fact how important recycling is to the maintenance of this planet. But it's becoming more of a challenge, and it's been such a push for so long. People buy into it, and then it's like, too bad, we're not going to follow up on it. So I'm asking if you folks can make any considerations at all to recycle reinstate the recycling program when you picked up the items, and spend any time possible to find out someplace where we can take plastic glass bottles to get recycled. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Brady Craig.
My name is Brady Craig. My wife and I live at 415 Lindsay Road, Clemson, South Carolina. And we have a skateboarding ministry called Malchus SC, and I am the vice president of the nonprofit Skate Upstate. Our goal was to get a skateboard park built here in Clemson, and thanks to the city of Clemson, that skate park is now built. So we would like to say thank you so much to everyone who had anything to do with that and helped making that dream a reality. We are all very pleased with it, and we thank you all for your participation in achieving this goal. That being said, the Clemson skate park itself has now been finished since May. I, as well as many others in our community, feel very strongly that this skate park should presently be available to the public and that it is an underutilized asset to our community. Would everyone who is here tonight, because you're ready to see the Clemson skate park open to the public, please stand. Thank you. You may all be seated. Currently, as it stands, instead of a place for skateboarders and other people on wheels to enjoy, the Clemson Skate Park has officially become the city's most popular no-riding zone. Many of us feel that this is unnecessary and that the possible punishments for skateboarding or riding at the park before its opening are more than excessive. And the people that this park was built for are heavily dreading the additional months we've been asked to wait before we can freely use it without fear of arrest. In spite of any construction that is scheduled to take place near or around the skate park that would delay its opening, the skate park itself has now been finished since May and needs no further construction to be functional. The riding community was originally told that the projected availability of this park would be sometime in November of this year, and we are now being told that we must wait until March of next year to use this park without fear of penalty. Those of us here, and many of us in the community, feel that this is an unnecessarily long wait, and that there are indeed solutions that can be implemented well before then. Solutions such as putting a fence around the park itself while construction is being done around it, and or placing caps on any rebar that may be sticking up near or around the skate park. We believe that the issues preventing this park from being open to the public can be easily navigated with the help of the city and the riding community together. We ask you to please consider working on these solutions and making it possible for the skate park to be available to the people it was built for as soon as is truly possible. Thank you once again to the City of Clemson for building this beautiful park. Now let's please try and find some creative solutions to make it available to our community as soon as possible. Thank you, and thank you to everyone who came out here tonight in support of this effort.
Thank you, Mr. Franklin. Mr. Cruz.
Hello, Council. My name is Brandon Cruz. I live at 217 Camelot Road, and I'm here also to thank you very much for the skate park and your investment in public recreation spaces. The skate park is beautiful, and it's just a shame that we have to look at it for so long from behind a fence. I'm a skater, a lot of friends are skaters. I own a skate shop that I opened with knowledge that the skate park would be built and finished in a certain time frame. It's not easy being a small business in this economy, and the more skateboards I could sell, the better, and the sooner the park would open, the better, not just for business, but just for all the skaters that want to use it. And I think Brady said it very, very well, that I think there could be some creative solutions to getting people on the skate park. Nobody wants to play in the mud. Nobody wants to tinker with heavy equipment. People just want to get on that sweet, beautiful concrete that's been done for 5 months and skateboard. So it's frustrating to see it sitting there. There's erosion happening all around the skate park. A big bulk of the construction, it looks like, that needs to be finished is just some grading and planting grass on the backside near the Green Crescent Trail. I think if you were to go down and take a look, you would see that it wouldn't take much to build a small path to get people on the skate park so that they can enjoy skating. And even if there was some, rules about not skating while construction was in progress or something, or 5 to dark or on the weekends, I think, I don't know, there's gotta be a way. There's gotta be a way. There's gotta be a way. I got a minute, 9 seconds left. I have customers coming into my shop every day asking about it. I have people that said they've been wanting a skate park since the 80s. You know, skateboarding's been around since 1959 when this first skateboard was made. There have been skate parks, you know, being built since then. You know, we finally have one here. You know, the crew showed up, they said it would be done in 80 days. I think they finished it in 79 days. You know, so they knew exactly when they were gonna get it done. And the city knew when it was gonna be done, you know, if they knew. And to see now that there's signs going up saying it's an active construction zone, when it's been sitting there for 5 months, just sitting there, you know, it wasn't an active construction zone for 5 months. Now it's finally an active construction zone, and now you're gonna get a felony if you get busted skating in there. Really? So now we're gonna have some kids, skaters, that are gonna be felons, if that's true. And that would be very sad. So I hope you'll do something about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Next, we have Abir Hassan.
Good afternoon, Council. Thank you guys first. My name is Abir Hassan. I'm a Clemson student and a skateboarder. First of all, I would like to thank you guys so much for agreeing to build the project and everything that's happened so far with the skate park. It's been amazing, and I just love the fact that we have one so close to us at home. But the skate park, as it is pretty much finished. It's right there, and because of that, I see a lot of people are already skating it just because it's done. But since then, people have been getting trespassed for doing it, and that's something that we believe the city had built for us, the skate community. I understand it not being open yet, but if there's still work that needs to be done in the skate park, I feel like it should be more transparent what needs to be done. Obviously, the splash pad is still being worked on and such, and there even are other incidents of this being the case. Like in the past, there was in California City, they had a similar skate park under construction, and they couldn't open it for like 6 months because they had a splash pad right next to it that was being under construction. But what the city was looking at then was doing phased openings so that the splash pad construction would be walled off, fenced off, while people could enjoy the skate park without any concerns of there being an issue. So I'm asking for 3 things. One, a punch list of what's left to be done on the skate park and who's working on it and when these projects will be done. 2, maybe some kind of amnesty for people who were caught skateboarding there. You know, I have heard of people who have been given trespasses there, and I also know that it might be difficult for some people to understand this because I know some people who transferred to Clemson or joined Clemson because they heard there was a skate park being built here, and there's no other school nearby with a skate park around. So, I mean, I know people in that situation, and they might just go to the skate park thinking it's already done, and then encounter that issue. And so the last thing I'm asking you guys to consider is a phased opening, in which we could open maybe just the skate park and everything else around it would be closed off for construction. I think keeping it closed till March hurts Clemson's image a little bit, and the goodwill that all the donations and people working hard to get this skate park put into this. And honestly, it would be a shame to see that be the case. And even if there's some kind of damage or weather damage, you know, in March, I think everyone in the community is polite and organized and is willing to work with the city however they can in order to get this skate park built. And again, I would just like to thank you guys so much for taking your time considering everything we have to say today.
Thank you. Those are the last of our signups, so now the floor is open to the public for comments on anything that is not an agenda item. if you'll just sign in. Mr.
I was
Rosen.
looking for that. I'm like,
We had it.
what?
Good afternoon. See, want to feel like I'm in church, so. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Late afternoon. Now tell me, because I didn't see an agenda and I tried to go online to look at it.
Rosa, they were as you came in. Leslie's going to grab you one, actually. Yes, ma'am.
And I'm going to join y'all skate park. Y'all got one for handicap. Okay, then, and you stop me if you feel like that I'm missing something because I don't have my glasses on. First, I want to say thank you for allowing me. My name is Rosa Graydon. I'm originally from Clemson, but I reside in Central South Carolina. But my heart is in Clemson, and I do a lot of work in Clemson, and I've been there since I was born. And yes, I speak for my community, and I am the voice of the community. There are a couple of things before I get to what I really want to say. I would like to see an upgrade at the Rotary Park at the Abel community. I noticed something was at Nettles online, which is okay. But Rotary Park, up there across from Abel Baptist Church, has the same materials since it was put there. So I would appreciate if the city would look into it to kind of upgrade, do some other things. That would be truly nice. Okay, and the next thing, I want to talk about, and tell me if it's on the list, because I don't see a number on here, about the 389 project.
We're gonna have time.
Are you gonna have that?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm gonna get to speak?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Look, I can wait. All right.
Thank you, Ms. Rosen. If you've signed in, you can come on up. Yeah. If you'll just tell us your name.
I'm Joshua Wan.
Go right ahead.
I am a new freshman to Clemson University, and I came here with the knowledge that the skate park was being built. And I've only recently started since March to skateboarding, and it's been a really social activity for me. I've made lots of friends doing the skateboarding, and just seeing the skate park sitting there and just knowing that I can be able to make friends there as well, it's kind of disheartening to see it just sit there as well. And before school even started, I went to the pump track just to look around, and I met him over there. And that was before school even started, and it was just nice socializing and meeting new people. And I also want to bring my friends back home. I came from Greenville, which is just an hour ride from here. And I just want to bring them here so I can have fun with my friends when I'm back home and just be able to hang out, maybe over the weekend when there's no school and all. But overall, I would like to see the skate park just have a closer deadline than it is now, because come March, I'm going to be becoming a sophomore, and that's already a whole school semester gone that I could be socializing and learning new tricks and all. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Fellow council members, my name is James Stiff. I currently reside in Seneca, like right across the bridge, but I've been coming to Clemson like ever since, basically my entire life. I've seen the city blow up from nothing till now. Everyone's here. And just like everybody else, I'm here about the skateboard park. To me, like Brandon said, Mr. Cruz, it's completely done. The concrete's there. It's just in a mud pile, and I think it is kind of ridiculous that we are in a point now that we could be considered felons for doing what we love. There have been times I've been skating downtown, not even doing tricks, not even doing the things that are destructive. I understand, I'm not trying to destroy this beautiful city, but I've been pulled over by the cops being like, hey, don't skateboard on the sidewalk, you're gonna crack the sidewalk. I'm sorry, the concrete, basically, I'm just happy that we finally have a spot for us to go to, that we're not gonna be pushed away. So I think it is very ridiculous that we are now trying to push this back another couple of months. I think it's just a waste of concrete just to sit out there. I think we can have a solution for us skaters to go out there and have fun and not bother anybody. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hey.
Linda Davis, I'm the pastor at New Hope Baptist Church in Clemson, South Carolina. I hope everybody's doing good. Yeah? Yes. Okay, great. I was here in reference to Goldman Street in Clemson. A few months back, we had met with the city planning about installing new water lines on Goldman Street, and I asked about the sidewalks, implementing sidewalks on Goldman Street, desperately needed, and I was told to go down and fill out a form, which the gentleman was not there at the time. So they've started the replacement of the water lines, but I still need an answer to the sidewalks, because we need sidewalks. The road is so narrow, if traffic is coming in both directions, a pedestrian would have to get off the side of the road. And it's dangerous. So that would be a great improvement to Goldman Street, especially since the old Milliken property is gonna be developed into affordable housing for somebody, not for us, but. And so I would love to see sidewalks on Goldman Street in Clemson. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How y'all doing?
Hey.
Most of you know me, I'm Pete Masco. I own Backstreet's Pub and Grill downtown. Full disclosure, I am on the BAR, so today I'm going to be talking to you as an owner of a business downtown. I'm also a resident and a graduate of Clemson, class of '91. I opened Backstreet's 33 years ago, and over the years we've grown with the town, and I've been involved in a lot of the meetings trying to build downtown up. And one of the things with the streetscape that we're trying to do to get rid of the on-street parking from Key Street, from 93 on down, is to have a parking garage with enough spots to displace that we're gonna lose. with the was it 398 College Ave and Briggs project going through?
Pete, if this is gonna, we're gonna have time to give comments about the 398 project at that agenda item. It sounds like this might be relevant to that one.
Okay.
Is that what you're looking to make a statement about?
Yeah.
Okay, if you don't mind, we can have you speak then so that it's like top of our mind when we're
Okay.
talking about that
All right.
project. That'd be
No
great.
problem.
Thank you very much. Floor is still open for public comments. I'll make one more call if anybody would like to make comments on items that are not on the agenda. Okay, Mayor, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right, thank you very much. Next on the agenda item is the approval of minutes. The possible approval of minutes for September 15, 2025. Would somebody like to make a motion?
So moved. Second.
Comments or discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. Next, we'll go into reports and discussion. There is a 3-minute limit per speaker. First is to consider a request from the Healing Bridges Counseling to use the free clinic facilities to operate a counseling center. And so I believe, Lindsay, you're going to start it off. Is that correct? Lindsay Newton? And while Lindsay's coming up, I always say this, you're more than welcome to stay. We understand, though, people have families. They want to spend time with their families. You can leave at any time. So do not feel obligated to stay if you want to leave. So yep. Might have a few. We have a few right here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Yep. Some spaces too. Mac and Lindsay, thank you for your patience. We'll give it one more minute. We'll give it one more minute.
David was going to get an update on the skate park.
Oh, was he gonna do?
We'll follow up.
We're gonna follow. We'll contact Brandon and Brody. I didn't see him come up. Yeah, I didn't see him come up. Okay. Thank you, Lindsay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm going to say just a little bit, and then I'm going to tee it up for Mr. Hack Trammell. We have been in discussion with Healing Bridges Counseling Center and the Free Clinic over the past few months about the possibility of this new counseling center moving into the Free Clinic and sharing space with the Free Clinic. From a staff position, I feel like this fits the mission of how we're using our city buildings with our current nonprofits. And I just wanted to facilitate a conversation between Hack Trammell and council. I'm going to hand it over.
Thank you, Lindsay. Good evening, council. Thank you for allowing me to come before you. I'm here on behalf of Healing Bridges Counseling Center as the board chair. Also, I have Reverend Robert Miles, Heather Cook, and Stacy Miller also on the board. We've been working hard for about 18 months to try to launch Healing Bridges Counseling Center, which was founded out of a strategic planning process from Fort Hill Presbyterian Church. A task force there identified a need for mental health counseling available regardless of an ability to pay. So we've been hard at work, and we do come, as Lindsay noted, with a request to share space for the Clemson Free Clinic. We've worked with Sandy Smith and come with a letter of support from their board, which you have, and are very pleased with that. We have some statistics that I just want to help frame the issue, the dilemma that we're dealing with. You can see in front of you 1 in 5 U.S. adults experience mental illness every year. If you take that down to what that means in Clemson proper, that's over 3,500 individuals. If you multiply that by 3, when we look at our service area, which would include Pendleton and Central, there's a significant number there. Our research indicated that resources, counseling, there's a void there, and we're trying to fill that gap. For the statistics you see in front of you, I'm going to only focus on the middle one. What I would add to that is in 2023, 818 individuals lost their lives to suicide in South Carolina. In the first few months of 2025, officials in Anderson County reported 24 deaths, a 300% increase over the prior year. There's an epidemic there. There's something that needs additional resources to address, and that is why Healing Bridges is here. So what are the barriers? You can see not enough therapists, accessibility during non-working hours, transportation if you have to go out of town. There's a stigma attached. There shouldn't be, but we need to build awareness, and that's part of our mission. And cost is often the final barrier. So our vision, our desire is for an all-embracing community outreach for Clemson. It would represent an active and ongoing partnership between many churches, service organizations, and government entities focused on making a real difference for those struggling with mental health issues, whether it be anxiety, depression, trauma, grief, suicidal thoughts, and others. So our vision, a place in our community where you can receive mental health counseling regardless of your ability to pay. Our mission you can read for yourself, but we want to make sure our mission is to help individuals achieve their optimal mental health. With our vision, we want to be an integral part of the greater Clemson mental health community. We're not trying to take business from anybody else. There's a crying need for more therapists. We look to and have been working with others in the community that provide support. You can see our values where we're focusing on the individual, and we also want to provide education and collaboration with the community. Our service area would include Central Clemson and Pendleton. A core of what we're approaching, how we're approaching, is the quality of our service will attract people who will pay for it, such that we can provide care to those who cannot. So our plan, what we've been working on the last 18 months, we'll form a 501c3 corporation. We'll have a licensed mental health professional as our executive director. We'll utilize counseling graduates seeking supervision. That might be a bit down the road after we've lifted off. We'll use underutilized space. That's exactly why we're here tonight. And we indicate, we know we will start small and grow incrementally such that we are sustainable over the long term. So how are we doing with all of that? In corporation, we're established now as a South Carolina corporation with the Secretary of State. I'm tickled to death to be able to report that this morning, it's a minor miracle, I received a letter from the Internal Revenue Service. We now have our tax exempt certification, so we are a 501c3, able to accept donations from any of you. We are very pleased with that. From a facility standpoint, obviously we're talking about the Clemson Free Clinic here. We've worked very closely with Sandy and her team just to see how could we make that work. Would that not impede what they're doing? We believe we can make that work, and their board is supportive. We've also been really pleased with working with Clemson United Methodist Church. They have space they're going to make available to us the other 2 days of the week. So with that, we think we've got a good approach. I see nominal rents up there. I just want to applaud you for what y'all have done to support nonprofits in the community to make the community a better place. Our clinical model, it will be a holistic approach. If an individual has spiritual needs, we want to be able to address those. If they don't, that's fine. We want to give them the best professional counseling that they're looking for. From an awareness standpoint, we have been going long and hard, particularly Reverend Miles. He thought he was giving up his pulpit when he retired a few years ago. Now his pulpit's all across the community. But we've been very pleased going to churches, civic organizations, government entities, even Foothills Community Healthcare to make sure we're working in partnership with them and community social service agencies. We believe we have meaningful engagements with a number of organizations and representatives. Lindsay's been a great help as we've started to look at this issue. The Free Clinic folks have been great. The Methodist Church, St. Andrew Catholic Church, Heather Cook is on the board and our licensed professional counsel leading that charge. Reverend Miles attached to the University Lutheran Church, as well as we're worshiping at Fort Hill at times. First Baptist Church of Clemson, Ted Swan is going to be on our search committee, and we're tickled to death to have he as well as other licensed clinicians there. Many have decided they want to be a part of what we're doing. Finally, you can follow us on Healing Bridges Counseling Center on Facebook and Instagram. We're tickled to death. We're working with students with the Pierce Center for Professional Communications to help stand us up to do all those things old people like me would have no idea what to do. But again, we come to you today to ask for your support and allow us to proceed to negotiate with city council staff, your staff. Happy to answer any questions.
I have one. Yes. I was looking at the information because you're right, mental health is such an important aspect and something that needs to be addressed. But when looking at the churches, I didn't see if you had contacted any of the churches in the area that are people of color, like some of the historically black churches, if they've been partnered with other members of the community and who would be part of the I guess, search committee because of the type of counselors or people who will be involved. Sometimes it helps to have people who, if we're talking about trusting relationships, individuals that can relate or look like them. So I'm just wondering, I didn't see that in the presentation.
Robert, respond on the...
We are currently in conversation with Reverend Oglesby, with Viola at Golden Corners and Golden View, excuse me. And I have personally spoken with Cornell Richardson in Pendleton. I used to work with him in Greenville pretty closely. And we are, this conversation is still going on. We are actively seeking contacts in churches, and as Hack said, I'll talk to anybody anytime.
Thank you.
And in terms of our selection committee, we have 3 professional counselors, Erica Hayes, Amy Massengill, and Heather Cook, as well as Dr. Swan. Other questions?
Other questions? We greatly appreciate the work you're doing within the community.
Yes.
So we're excited. We look forward to it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So if I have an affirmative from council, then I will move forward with drafting a lease. The Healing Bridges and Free Clinic will work together to enter into an MOU, and then I will come back to council with the lease terms and agreements for y'all to vote on. Wanted to get a positive feedback before we did all that. So.
You don't need a motion on this one, so, unless you tell us.
No, this is a discussion, but I'll just,
Positive discussion.
Positive discussion.
Positive.
We look forward to you coming back.
Yes.
Look forward. Thank you,
Yes.
Lindsay. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all being here. All right. While they're stepping out, the next is to consider accommodations tax committee recommendations for ATAX grants. Leslie, and I believe you're bringing up Mr. Harley as well.
Yes, sir. First, I just kind of wanted to go over a little bit about ATAX. It's the accommodations tax that we get from the state that is charged to patrons who stay at our hotels. And so of this money, we get...
Hold on, Leslie. That's our way of, yeah, okay, thank you.
So we get 35%, and that is given to the Chamber of Commerce to be our visitor center. We get 5% that's allowed to go to the general fund, and then the other 65% we're required to give out in grants to nonprofits. And so they're required to, during a time that we advertise, to submit applications for this money. And this year we had around $323,000 available, and I'm going to let Mr. Bill Harley come up and talk about the applicants and the committee met and what they want to recommend. So.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you all for hearing us tonight. We received, first I would say the members of our committee, it's a cross-section of communities, Mary Ann Hill, Denise Rogers, Bobby Condon, Ethel Pettigrew, and Chris Fuller. And one of the key members of the committee is Denise Rogers, who's a hotelier, so that helps where we can kind of verify who is staying at these events, or in fact attracting people to stay in the hotels in Clemson, which is where the money is generated. We had total requests of $306,795. You've got on the screen the recommended allocations from our committee. I'll go down those as they are right there. The first one we had was Clemson Area Chamber of Commerce. That's primarily or solely for promoting the college teams coming to do rowing during the spring. They requested $64,700. Our recommendation was $62,200. We cut their recommendation by $2,500 because they had promotional materials, a T-shirt they would give the people when they were already here, which obviously if they're already here, there's no reason to give them a T-shirt. So anyway, we recommended $62,200 on that one. The next one was the T-Ed Garrison Arena. They requested $10,000. We recommended $10,000 for that. Again, that's promote events at the Garrison Arena. The next one was the City of Clemson Tourism Department. Again, that's an all-encompassing thing with marketing the area. They asked for $177,100. We recommended that same thing and verified all their expenses. The next one was the Foothills Area YMCA. That's for the Death Valley Open Water Swim Meet, where they would have people coming And it's a morning event, so there will be a lot of people coming spending the night. The night before, they asked for 16,745. We recommended 10,500. They had some items in there that were not compliant, such as awards, swim caps, and there's some salaries within there that were not compliant with the ATAX recommendations. So we only recommended 10,500. The next one was the Brooks Center for the Performing Arts. They asked for 30,000. And we recommended that. One thing I'll say about the Brooks Center that might come up, I know last year I got a question that are these people staying at the Martin Inn that does not pay ATAX? We verified that with Denise Rogers on our committee. She says they have a lot of groups that stay who do things at the Brooks Center. So we did verify that there are people staying in hotels in the city of Clemson that, that do things one way or the other at the Brooks Center. The final amount was the South Carolina Theater Association. They're having a conference here where 500 people are going to come. This is the first time they've had that here, but again, this is to promote that annual convention. With 500 people coming here, it kind of goes without saying, there'll be some spillover and folks staying in the hotels here. Are there any questions on any of these?
What date is that South Carolina Theater Association? Leslie's pulling it up.
November 13th through the 16th, and it's a high school. And these are high school students that are coming into town.
Thank you.
Yes.
Here's a question. With the exception of the Theater Association, are most of these groups consistent year to year? That is, do they request and receive
It's a
funding
lot of
every
the same.
year?
Every year we get, obviously, the Rowan, Ted Garrison Arena. Yeah, it's pretty much Foothills Area YMCA is a little bit new this year. Theater Association. So yeah, the vast majority are about the same things every year.
About the same amounts every year?
Close, yes. And I've been on the committee about 5 years, so yeah, it's about the same every year.
I appreciate you kind of
Thank you.
reading through the details of it, because it makes it easier for us not to have to be the ones to say redlining things.
Thank
good to have the eyes
Thank
on
Leslie
it.
for that and
Yeah.
the folks on the committee. Leslie's a great help.
And we have guidelines that
Right.
we have to follow,
Right.
the tourism committee, the state TURC, I can't remember exactly what their acronym stands for, but they will let us know. I've got several emails from last year's applicants and said, explain this a little more. Why did y'all do this? And so we clarified and they said, okay, great, that's all we need to know. So,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Appreciate it.
much.
Thanks for leading the effort. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill.
Next are staff reports.
Others can handle that.
Yeah, I'll start. Nathan Hinkle is serving as the project manager for the Clemson Park project, and he is not here tonight, but I'll get an update and send it over to you all tomorrow. I do know it's a conversation that's ongoing of looking for a way, but want to make sure it's safe for everyone who's there.
Thank you.
Some dates to put on your calendar. October the 21st is PCMA at 6:45, and it will be in Norris at the community building. So if you are interested in going, just let Jeremiah know, and he can get you on the calendar. The next Abernathy community meeting will be October the 27th, and it will be in council chambers from 4 to 6, and it will be the same type of open house, walking around. And then there will be another opportunity in November off-site. So we're still working out the details of that. Trick or Treat downtown will be the 28th from 5 to 7, which is Tuesday. Pumpkin Palooza at the Art Center will be the 24th from 6 to 8. It's an exciting event. And Senior Bingo is the 16th at the CCRC. If you haven't been out yet for Senior Bingo, it is the place to be on Thursday at lunch. And Morgan Robinson, our new CAM director, started this past Monday.
Awesome.
And that is all I have.
That's a lot of really good things.
Anything else?
What did you say the Abernathy meeting was?
The 27th from 4 to 6.
We can take that Clemson Park, we're gonna make like a project board out of it. So we are planning a phased opening.
Awesome.
As soon as it's safe to be open, we will open it. We realize we're dangling a carrot in front of some people. It's just mean. But we we had to have that piece put in when the contractor who put it in could do it. And believe it or not, had we waited and done everything else first, that they wouldn't have had the skate park till later than even the spring. So there's some, it looks like there's some sod is done, and there's some drainage, there's some underground stuff that needs to happen in there. But as soon as we can open it, we will.
Thank you both. All right, next is policy action. Just remember 2-minute limit per speaker. First, I'll just go straight in. Consider second reading of proposed text amendment regarding buffer yard standards. Jacob.
There has been no changes to the ordinance since the last reading.
Any questions? Questions or comments for Jacob? All right. Questions or comments from the public? Would somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the second reading of the proposed text amendment regarding buffer yard standards.
Second.
Comments? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. Next is consider second reading of proposed text amendment regarding frontage fences. Say, Jacob, yes.
There's been no changes to the ordinance since the first reading.
Questions or comments from the public? Okay.
I've got a question.
Yes, if you'll come up, sir.
If you don't mind, yep, make sure. No, you're good. That's a joint effort.
I just was looking at this presentation briefly, and I see there's a height on neighborhood fencing of 4 foot in height. And now there's existing fencing 8 foot all over the place in Clemson. So does that mean they have to take those down, or going forward it'll be 4 foot?
I'm gonna let Jacob answer.
No, this is not, so the 4 foot requirement is already in place. You can go up to 8 feet inside and rear yards. All this does is allow for situations to go above the 4 feet in certain front yards that front on arterial roads as well as a
Okay.
other road.
I read it very briefly, so I just want to jump in, but I stand corrected now. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both. Other comments from the public? All right, would somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the second reading of the text amendment regarding arterial frontage fences.
Second.
Jeremiah, you pick, Jeremiah. Comments? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. Next is consider first reading of proposed plan development 398 College Avenue. Nathan, you're on the agenda. You're gonna lead us off? Okay. Sure.
Evening, Council. We have an application in front of us from LV Collective. They submitted this on April 21st, 2025. As currently proposed, this is an 8-story mixed use on the 398 side with a 5-story on the 400 College Avenue side. The parcels total approximately 3.76 acres. This includes approximately 650 bedrooms in the mid-rise structure and 110 in the 5-story structure. Additionally, approximately 13,000 of new commercial space, 150 public parking spaces. Also includes the restoration and preservation of an active stream on the site and implementation of the downtown corridor plan from Keith to Strode. I will remind the council that planning staff first met with the developer in person on February 13th, 2025. On May the 12th, there was a conceptual presentation to the Planning Commission, as well as an informal public hearing in front of the Planning Commission in June. Two workshops were held in both July and August, and finally on August 11th, the Planning Commission, with one member absent, approved the development in a 4-2 vote. And I'm going to turn it over to the developer.
Unfortunately, Andy, would you please provide us your recommendation on this?
Well, first of all, it was approved by the Planning Commission. And while it's really not a mirror image of the pictures in the plan, it does fit your overall strategy to a T. And that strategy is largely been the same for 30 years, where you've been saying in the comp plan that you need to put student housing downtown for walkability purposes, and to preserve housing, have a more diverse array of housing in other areas. This project here also helps you advance other plans, like the downtown master plan. We're going to widen those sidewalks, but you can't do that because it eliminates the on-street parking. And we were never going to be able to advance the downtown master plan until we had a parking deck, someplace we could centrally locate all that parking. This allows you to take off that plan in a very real way, especially since they're going to fund and build a major section of that plan. You also have the opportunity to diversify your housing mix downtown, because I believe there's 130 units that are going to be studios, not marketed to students, maybe grad students or young professionals or anyone else, that are completely separated from the portion of the building that would be primarily students, although there is no way you can only rent to students. I think it generates approximately $900,000 a year in recurring revenue. While that's nice, I encourage you not to make a land use decision based on that and that alone. Focus more on what it allows you to do moving forward, which is continue your plans for the downtown redevelopment and proceed in your strategy to put pressure on properties that are already existing that are outside of the downtown to lower rates, so you have a more affordable option for people who can't afford the premium rates downtown. You also put pressure on them or make those outside properties ripe for redevelopment opportunities that can be transitioned into non-student housing where it currently is student housing. So when you take all that into consideration and how it all fits together, I think, considering my position, it'd be irresponsible for me to tell you not to approve this.
Nathan, did you say you were gonna?
He already did.
Oh, you already did? Okay.
Service.
The floor is yours.
The LV group.
Thank you.
It's okay.
Thank you. Good evening, council. Sorry. Just want to start again with the development timeline. We're here in front of you hoping to get a favorable outcome here for the rezoning here in October. Hoping to start this project, break ground in March of next year and open for July of 2028. I want to present some updates made from our last meeting. From a site plan perspective, the project has not changed from a site plan perspective. Here we have added some key dimensions just to focus on how much buffer and distance we have been providing from our building to our neighbors and to some key places. We've talked a lot about rigs. You can see there in the back, 90 feet and 124 feet to the closest structures there. On Strode, highlighting there a 75-foot setback between Strode and the south parcel building to the right. And on the north parcel, highlighting roughly 70-foot distance between our new proposed building and the adjacent built structure, the pharmacy in place. From a highlight perspective, no changes here. This is exactly the same as we presented last time. I want to highlight here, bolded in yellow, what did change. So this is what we presented 3 weeks ago, 130 beds in the north parcel and 630 in the south parcel. Go to the next slide. This is what we're coming with today. A reduction of 20 beds on the north parcel, an increase of 20 beds on the south parcel. It's a reallocation of those beds. The total remains the same. And we're going to go through how we did that. The building itself is not growing. The south building is not growing. The north parcel building is not shrinking either. We did this through the unit mix. So we have reallocated, refocused the north parcel to be marketed and to be marketed more towards beyond just students and be a more adult-facing building that will serve not just students, but young professionals, teachers, graduate students, even young families. So previously, we did have in this building studios through 5 bedrooms, and this is the change here where we're changing from studios to 3 bedrooms, with 3 bedrooms being a very small percentage, the majority being 1 to 2 bedrooms that work better for those settings. Additionally, we wanted to share some comparisons that we have been doing between our proposed project and some of our neighbors, either current under construction or the Earl that's been built. So we're going to be comparing our project to the Earl, Moda, and Hub here on a few of key statistics. Next slide, please. So public parking. The Earl, way back when that was developed, provided 15 public parking spaces on street. Moda proposed 65, Hub 75. We're coming in with twice that amount, at least, right? 150 parking spaces. A few things to note from those parking spaces. Those 150 parking spaces have been valued roughly at $6.5 million between land and construction itself. It's designed in a very easy and convenient way to where you're very easily coming in. First 3 levels are public parking, very easily walking back out through a breezeway that walks you out to the street in front of the retail. And additionally, it's screened on all sides. So if you can see in the top image, you see the parking deck in gray in the middle. There's units and retail all around it. So this means you won't ever see this parking deck. We have heard concerns and complaints from the Earl up down the street where either shining lights at night disturbing neighbors or even noise disturbing neighbors. This won't happen here just because of the way it's designed, it's all contained. Next picture here shows what's currently under construction at the Hub, right? At the bottom view, this is the view standing from College Avenue, and that's what we're gonna see. At the top is our proposed project. You're not seeing a garage, you're seeing windows, you're seeing high quality materials, you're seeing active streetscape, not a garage. From a density standpoint, we compared, so density is a measure of units or beds over area, in this case acreage. We are less dense than all 3 projects, Earl, Moda, and Hub, in all counts except for the one on Moda, 155 beds per acre. But in general, this project's less dense than those other 2. Canopy coverage is another one that we've been talking about, and canopy coverage is basically how much greenery, how much trees the project's bringing or saving in this case. This project's proposing 30% canopy coverage. In comparison, in contrast, Earl did not have this data available, but Moda and Hub had 13% and 10% respectively. So it's almost 3 times as much greenery that this project is bringing in. Impervious cover is a similar account. It's basically grassy areas where water can percolate into the ground. Again, all the greenery is creating a less pervious project, which is a good thing for development. So we're at 66% on the south parcel, 80% on the north parcel. In comparison, the other projects were at 85 and 90 respectively. And lastly, buffer yards. Buffer yards are the separation, green spaces separating commercial, in this case multifamily, to residential structures. The area highlighted in yellow adds up to around 25,000 square feet of buffer yards. In comparison to the other projects, it's almost 3 times as much. There were some concerns about proximity to the adjacent building on the north parcel, to the existing pharmacy. Here to the left, to the top left image is the Moda currently under construction. The image to the right is an aerial view of what our project would be. This is roughly 70 feet of separation there versus what's happening on the other side of the other property. At the bottom, just an overall rendering showing this project in context and showing how it fits with the U Center at the very right, Moda to the very left, and the pharmacy there in between Moda and our north parcel. When comparing this project with Moda, which is very close, top views and elevation from College Avenue, you can see the heights are basically the same.
bottom view is an elevation from the backside, from Knox. You'll see the height, again, the step down, responding to the same thing that Moda did, and this is actually slightly lower than Moda. And lastly, this is something that was discussed during Planning Commission. We did not mention this during our last meeting here at Council. This project is also proposing a neighborhood gateway signage for the neighborhood on the back. This coupled with the removal of the street parking currently existing on Riggs there as you enter Riggs is an effort to really preserve the neighborhood character, since we heard a lot of that from the community early on. And I'd like to invite my colleague here for the last couple slides.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. I'd like to take a few minutes here just talking through the community benefits that we believe make this project not only a responsible development, but one that truly contributes to the city of Clemson as a whole. Everything I'll share tonight comes back to one simple idea. We want to build something that fits here, something that adds value to the city, supports local priorities, and respects what makes Clemson so special. One of the clearest themes that we've heard from both council and planning commission has been the importance of keeping the 150 parking spaces. That's been consistent since day one. Especially, we want to keep that because we believe it's what makes the implementation of the College Avenue streetscape possible. So those improvements will call for the removal of some on-street parking spaces, which is exactly what makes the garage so important. While we're losing a few spaces along the street, we're also bringing wider sidewalks, dedicated bike lanes, and upgraded lighting. Not lighting that just relies on ambient lighting from the building, but a dedicated lighting program that makes the corridor safer for both pedestrians and bicycles as they transgress the area. That's a direct response from what we've heard from the neighbors and business owners, the desire for a safer, more walkable path into downtown. On the housing side, that talks about the streetscape there. On the housing side, Andy mentioned it, the one change that we've actually made since we were here last will be limiting the units in the 400 block to studios through 3 bedrooms. And I do want to highlight one thing that Mauricio talked about is we are limiting those 3 bedrooms to 10% of the overall units, so that it is truly more of a focus on those individual occupants or those young couples, those graduate students or professionals that need and want a safe, clean, accessible place to live to, again, what makes all of Clemson so special. The retail piece is something that we're really proud of. So the overall amount of square footage has not changed. It is still anchored by our Daydreamer Cafe, and the goal for that cafe is to really feel like a true gathering space. At our Atlanta location, we've hosted everything from neighborhood Bible studies to pop-ups with local bakeries. It's intended to be a space that becomes a part of the community, not separate from it. In addition to Daydreamer, we've heard the community's interest in having a market. We've already started outreach to local and regional partners to gauge interest, and it's been strong, but we are 2 years from delivering. So what we're prepared to do to ensure that we can meet this community and council desire is offer a significant subsidy to ensure that we can attract quality local or regional retail users that can fill the market concept as shown on the image on the right here. So we're offering 1 year free rent, and assuming market rates, that's valued at about $80,000 to $90,000 of value, plus a TI allowance of about $220,000. So a coupled benefit of $300,000 to make that possible for a local or a regional market user. That's in addition to the white box space. So that money should go very far. We have it here identified in the 400 building because we think it's a good complement to the studios to 3 bedrooms, but we in no way are limiting that to the 400 building. If we have a market user that wants to be in the bigger building or they need more space, then the 2,900 square feet that's available, we are more than happy to make that adjustment and keep that conversation going with you all. So we've talked a lot about the stream preservation. Maybe one thing that we didn't cover on earlier is the coloring of the trees here. I think it's important. One of the community members, rightfully so, called out not being able to have some of the larger trees that we've committed to. And sometimes when you start a new development, you're planting new trees, so they take time to grow, right? But the darker colored trees that are there, usually the larger trees that are shown there in the circles, those are actually existing and they will maintain. They will be maintained there. So day one, you will have large trees with wide coverage as you move back towards the community. And last but not least, one additional change that we've made, there are a lot of community initiatives, some that we've heard today. And we'd like to make a donation of $250,000 to support one of those initiatives. Originally, we were going to come here and suggest an earmark potentially to the Affordable Housing Fund, but we wanted to show we're here to listen. We are open. We want the community and we want you guys to be a part of that decision and kind of tell us how that money can be used and go as far as it possibly can. So thank you for your time. We know this is a hard decision, and we really appreciate you guys engaging in this discussion tonight. Thank you.
Next, I will open it up to the public.
Do you want me to do the submitted comments? Or you want to wait till the end?
Well, actually, we'll start with the public sign-in first.
Okay,
And then-
we had folks sign up ahead of time, so we'll go down this list and then we'll open to the public if that works. Ms. Healy.
Well, good evening, and unfortunately, I find myself in front of you again, opposing this development for many reasons. I'll start off, I just get so upset about this. The first thing to consider is the birth rate of the United States. The United States birth rate has been dropping, and the number of children that are being born is decreasing. So when you're planning for the university or any of these places to increase their enrollment, you have to realize that there's going to be less students to be spread around the whole country, so that you don't know how much this enrollment will be maintained. So if you're building for that, you have to take that into consideration, and also what will happen to all the buildings that are presently, all the residential buildings, apartments that are presently built that will be aging out and will be less attractive to this diminishing enrollment. Also, Zoom classes. This summer, the university had most of their classes, if not all, summer school.
Just to let you know, you have 30 seconds. Just want to make sure. You have 30 seconds. Yes.
Oh, geez, okay. Well, anyway, I'm not going to be able to say all the things, but the parking spaces, 150 parking spaces, and all the things that they're offering, it sounds like, I hate to say bribery, but it's like they're offering you these things because they realize the residents are not in favor of this. But, okay, sorry.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Healy.
you. Thank you.
Next, Ms. Eitenmiller.
I don't want to waste a lot of my time on the nitty-gritty, so I'm going to say this real quick. According to the Clemson Next plan, these parcels were never supposed to have student housing. I passed out a little sheet to everyone. They also don't meet the definition of 2 contiguous acres, which in my old-fashioned dictionary from the 60s, 50s, contiguity, nearness, or contact continuous mass or unbroken series. Bordering upon, to touch upon, border upon, in contact with, touching. Okay, so there we go. This proposed development will be right beside downtown neighborhood that has been there for over 70 years and should be voted down. Why should the residents participate in the city's comprehensive plan if council ignores the plans it produced? Now, hold on. I heard something from, I don't understand why these people get all the time in the world, but I heard one of them say what council desires. What about what these people desire? The people that pay the taxes, the people that have to deal with, the people that live on Strawberry Lane that have to deal with the roads torn up. It's not even safe to walk along Strawberry Lane. And we talk about parking. How much have the new parking meters made? Every time I come downtown, there's nobody parked in the parking
30 seconds, yes ma'am.
What?
30 seconds.
25.
Okay, whatever. And one more thing. We're all worried about the skate park. I say fix Strawberry Lane for the residents of Clemson that pay a majority of taxes in this town.
Thank you, Ms. McNamara. Next, we have Mr. Hodges.
This is starting to feel familiar. Anyway, I noticed on their diagram, they didn't show the distance from my house to 400. And they show a distance 124 feet from the big building. But I was asking Mr. Peabody just the other day if he had any 50-foot fences I could maybe put up between my front yard and this 70-foot tall, 70,000 square foot building, 5 stories tall. It's going to be just right outside my front porch, bordering on Knox Road, bordering on my lot at 101 Strode Circle. I believe the mayor may have mentioned that the building's a little bit too big. It could be shortened. Somehow when they lowered their big building from 7 stories to 5, they miraculously added 40 extra beds without a whimper from Planning Commission that magically they added 40 beds to the process. There's still 40 beds now, more than they proposed, the 720 beds back when this process started. That's nothing but a money grab to just sneak in 40 extra beds on us. Also, the trees you see in this pretty picture are artist's conception of trees. You won't see those probably in the next 20 years to have anything that looks like that. They're proposing to cut down practically every tree there. They may save a twig here or there. Also, the Preserve Creek is our neighborhood storm sewer. It has 3 speeds, dry as a bone, a little bit of flow, or a raging river like we had about a month ago, when I'm sure their little pretty deck would have lost their furniture. It does rage on it, and there's going to be 3 streams working through there. And I'm really concerned that there are new 60-inch pipes that are going to be coinciding with my culvert at the corner of at my Riggs Drive side. They're going to have converging 60-inch pipes. It may just be wiping out Riggs Drive and the new parking area we have there. So my objections all stand from previous meetings. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bowen or Mr. Bowden? Bowen, sorry.
Good evening. I'm opposed to this for several reasons. First of all, aside from parking, I'm not sure what value it really adds to the town. Yes, we need parking for Next, but I'm sure there are other alternatives that we can look at. Secondly, I'm really concerned about Lake Hartwell, the tributary that's there. Like the gentleman previously said, there's a lot of rainwater that comes down through that area. You got a parking deck. Where's all that water, the surface water coming, the rooftop water that comes from that? Where's all that going? Is that going into storm drains? That's another issue. So concerned about Lake Hartwell and what's going on with that. Pedestrian traffic. I live on Strawberry Lane. There are people, I have students up and down that street all day. If I'm not careful driving, I might hit one. There are no sidewalks on Riggs. There are no sidewalks on Strode. There are no sidewalks on Strawberry.
So it's a very difficult situation. I guarantee you, you put 700 beds there, there are going to be a lot of students walking through the neighborhood. Like I said, this is not in the next plan. I'm not sure what we're using as guidance if we're going to approve things that weren't there. And finally, I guess one of the big concerns is that people I talk to don't want it. They just don't want additional buildings. And sometime we have to stop. Sometime we have to have the backbone to say no. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey.
Pete?
I'm a little slow. I had rehab earlier for my shoulder and my hip.
Thank you, Jeremiah.
All right, I'm Pete Metzko. I own Backstreet's Pub and Grill downtown. I've been open 33 years. And quite honestly, 75% of what I was going to say, Andy already covered. I'm in favor of this project. We've been talking about parking, and redoing the sidewalks for 20 years now. I've been in just about every merchant meeting for the past 20 years downtown. And we put the streetscape to widen the sidewalks, because the sidewalks are way too narrow, especially in the downtown corridor, to contingent on getting at least 100 more spots. It's 150 spots. Can go forward and get all the sidewalks downtown done without displacing all this parking on street. Now, I've been in like 33 years. When I opened that place, we called it Back Streets because we were literally on the back street of downtown. You know, downtown ended at Tigertown. Right now, I think Walcott's is going to be the center of downtown. With this growth, the university is going to 30,000 students, and I don't think they're going to stop there. Every student that lives in walking distance of the university is one less person driving in from Central, Pendleton, Seneca. We need to get more high density downtown or close to the university with parking. So I'm in favor of it, and I'm not going to use all my tongue, so thank you.
Thank you.
She's back.
Thank you, Jeremiah.
Welcome back, Ms. Rosa.
Okay, don't start the clock. Hold up. I just want to go to my notes. First of all, I want to ask, what's the difference in supporting this and the things that happen in Cadillac Heights? The building. The next thing is, will we have increased in police officers with raises? Because when you bring something big and new, and all the people that you're talking about, how can the police force support all of this? The next thing, and I just hate to say this, but because the Black community has been overwhelmed with so many buildings and constructions, I needed to stay in the rich white neighborhoods. Now, I'm not trying to be racist, but it is true. And we do need a bridge because there is nowhere you can put all this traffic at. And to accommodate everything that they are speaking of, we have to find some kind of way because you're moving into the neighborhoods now. If it was a portal within the case that you can put affordable housing in, it's always the students. Why can't Clemson University build their own stuff on their own land instead of coming into communities? We are tearing down our communities and what they really stand for. But we really need affordable housing, not just over in the Red Hill section. We need it in the community of Abel and other sections, and like Clemson or Calhoun, but not this housing. We got enough building in our communities that don't even support us. I'm sorry for the rich white folks, but it needs to be with you all this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Q06 North Clemson.
I'm going to list it off. I'll skip it.
Okay.
That was good over your
Okay.
Just to review a little bit, last time these developers are here, there's a lively discussion among a lot of residents, and a lot of residents had very good arguments. They're very eloquent. In fact, I think the mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Mayor, but I believe he said it's not going to work in its current presentation, in its current form. It's got to go back to the drawing board. I think those are your words.
My words were we could do better.
We can do better, okay. And I agree with that. And so what we're talking about, the benefits, the new bakery, the new shop, the $250,000 they're throwing your way, but there's a cost for all that. The cost are the residents of Clemson, the people who live back there on Riggs, and they're all very much opposed to this. Also, last time we were here on this 398, the former city council member came up and spoke, Bob Brookover, and he said that this is illegal. This is a former city council member. The way this land is being joined, it's not contiguous. He pointed to the single-family home that wants to be incorporated and also the property that's across the street. They're not joining together, they're separate properties. So this whole foundation, either we change the code or we stick by the code. That's the question, I think. That's all I want to say.
Thank you.
Sean Haney, 211 Riggs. We heard persuasive marketing and an endorsement from a city employee, so I'm going to be direct tonight. This will be non-diverse student housing, and it does not fit our neighborhood. Is this really your vision for Clemson? Forget being in line with the 30-year master plan. We are not the same city. This is not in line with many of your campaign promises, all for parking spaces. On your watch, our 20 lots were acquired to put this parcel together, and here we are, fighting for our homes and our neighbors. I've heard housing deficit, and to those of us who actually live here, know that doesn't match reality. This developer looking for opportunities is here because Clemson, with all of our hospitality, along with the ordinances that are easy to exploit, is an easy target. We see you politely bend to their will through a process where I've seen more interest and discussion of a coffee shop than how it will impact everyone else in this room every day. I'm watching. We're all watching. And we see neighboring cities and counties standing up to greed. I don't want $250,000. I want my home to be the home that I purchased. Since our last discussion on this PD, 3 for sale signs have gone up on Riggs and Pool. But maybe that's not a bad thing for this brand of progress, as they are likely to be bought by people less connected or personally invested in the future of our city. I want Clemson to evolve and thrive, not devolve into simply a corridor of box condos or now something worse, as what should be the jewel downtown neighborhoods are being eaten by cheap, fast, problematic, hello Earl and Dockside, yet expensive for student monstrosities. We deserve better.
I'm sorry, but
Yes, I mean, just remember, we're keeping this very professional. We said it last meeting, I did not repeat it at this meeting, but no applause. We want everybody, we want to hear everybody's comments, so please be very respectful. No applause, cheering, while others are speaking, so thank you.
I'm
Yes.
Bob Healy again. Excuse me, the first thing is that $250,000 just rubs me the wrong way. It just sounds like, to me, it sounds like a bribe. You know, you guys may not be happy, but here, we'll throw you $250,000. Probably if you asked them for $500,000, they'd give you the $500,000. My point to that I want to make, though, is nobody has been discussing traffic. It's my understanding that all the traffic in and out of this building will be going on to College Avenue. Now, how can you expect not to be having traffic problems with a street light at Edgewood and just up the street, a couple of cars length, you're going to have people wanting to go egress and leave that that building. It's not gonna work. And as you have like a Friday night or something like that, when you have a football game weekend or whatever else, traffic is backing up anyway. And will happen is it'll just be that much worse. Especially in light of the fact that the hub will be dumping most of their traffic onto College Avenue via Wall Street. The Bixby's residents have to go out onto College Avenue. The Motor building will have to come out onto College Avenue. And now we're saying, here's another one that have to come out. And I'd like people to think, how's this gonna work? What's it gonna do to rigs in neighborhoods like that when these people say, I gotta get to school, make a right and then go on up there? It's problematic. Thank you.
There's no more signups, so we'll open the floor to additional public comments.
City council meeting where I don't expect to speak, but I'm incensed from what I hear. I'm Chevy Wright. I live at 114 Pool Lane. I've lived downtown for the last 13 years. I was a Clemson student before that. When my husband and I were looking for a house, it was downtown or bust. And I can't believe how much has changed and what we're willing to cede to the university at this point. So this is not my local priority. Someone said it was a local priority. It's not mine. And I don't know a neighbor who feels this way. It doesn't preserve the feeling of Clemson. I keep losing neighbors. 2 across the street from me, my beloved neighbor moved to Greenville because she is tired of this. It's constant. There's something new to fight, and no one is fighting for us. We voted you in to hear us, and it feels like we're in this desperate mode to cling onto our properties. And we show up to these meetings and we get upset and it means nothing because we all feel like it's gonna pass. I talked to a student today who couldn't believe that the buildup in downtown, she said it's starting to feel like Columbia and she chose to come to Clemson, not Columbia. And I feel the same way. I came here in 2004 and the way that Clemson has changed, I'm not gonna say it's better, it's bigger, but what do we have? We have chain sandwich shops. I miss Ancho's. Where's the mom and pop shops? No one wants to invest into downtown because who knows what it's gonna be like in another year or two. How will this disrupt the bus route? My child gets home on the bus an hour and a half after the middle school lets out. It's because on Fridays, if there's a game day, traffic builds up. What's gonna happen when they're building? Are they gonna close off Strode like you've done to QE Trail? What are we gonna do like what we did to College where we're allowing the people building to just use their stop signs and control traffic? How are my kids gonna be safer with the influx of cars? My son loves to ride his bike to his friend's house. I'm concerned about all these students coming through. I had a student tell me about how they found out about the doubt they cut through like it's a cheat code in Mario Kart. That's my neighborhood. It's not a cheat code. I walk these streets. I hate watching these mopeds go through stop signs. We're gonna add 800 more beds and not expect them to drive through my downtown or through my neighborhood. I just am tired of ceding property.
Thank you very much.
Here we go again. I mean, it's always a broken record of all this development. I think your focus needs to be on infrastructure, not building these huge apartment buildings for students only, especially if they don't have workforce housing in them. I just think it's very sad that Clemson's becoming a student housing city more than a resident city. We need to focus on infrastructure for our communities and I just oppose all of this development. Thank you.
hear public comments? I did have some submitted via the My Civic app that I'll go ahead and read, and then I'll open up again for anybody who else might want to speak. Let me make sure I've got these in order correctly. Okay, the first one comes from Mr. Howell on Pool Lane. He writes, vote no on College Avenue high rise. Dear Mayor and Council, please include the following comment on the record. I'm strongly urging you to vote no on this development. Do not sell out the residents who live here year-round and entrust you to represent them. Your obligation is to the citizens of Clemson, not the developers who come here to profit and leave. This project has changed substantially from its original form. While the apartment building was reduced and the so-called townhomes were significantly expanded, effectively creating another large multifamily structure. The scale and density have grown well beyond what residents were initially told, and this will have lasting consequences for traffic, noise, and safety. I also want to voice my full support for Mr. Brookover's comments regarding the PD zoning. Allowing this project to move forward under the current PD rules sets a dangerous precedent that will make it easier for future developers to bypass the city's long-term planning standards and erode the integrity of our zoning ordinance. Council must seriously consider whether the PD and zoning ordinance need to be revised before more projects exploit the same loopholes. If a majority insists on moving this project forward at the very least, the developer must be held to the highest possible standards, with enforceable penalties, neighborhood protections, and a genuine commitment to improving the community, not just their bottom line. Please do what is right for Clemson residents. Vote no on the College Avenue high-rise and take this opportunity to strengthen our zoning protections before it's too late. Respectfully, Mr. Howell, again on 121 Lane. The next comment comes from Ms. Martha Irvin at 108 Riggs Drive. She writes, regarding the development proposal in the Cold Spring subdivision, or Riggs and Strode Circle. The Clemson Next white paper was often referred to by several Planning Commission members during the developer's presentation for the high-density housing. I refer to the document as well. It specifically indicates this area, Riggs and Strode, not to be included in the high-density housing frenzy. Residential housing was suggested for this area, not student housing and not high-density student housing. The Clemson Next white paper also indicated that 1,500 student beds downtown, this is after Bixby because that was already being constructed, should be enough student housing in downtown Clemson, and we have that with the hub in Moda. The current developer in their proposal not only include the buildings on College Ave, but has plans to purchase connecting residential property to build into Cold Springs, specifically to construct something bigger, higher, more dense, senseless. There is a 6-story parking deck in our backyard, nothing in between, our house, the parking deck. Several members that were on city council now say it should never have been done abutting a residence, and now it's too late. It's not just the massive height. Neighbors across the street can also hear conversations in the parking deck because of echoes, and car alarms going off so much more often than you would think, a lot of this after midnight. In the comp plan presented last week to the Planning Commission and City Council, chapters 4 and 5, the presenter repeatedly emphasized that the city needs to take care of neighborhoods as well as development downtown. This is important. They also emphasized that there is more than just student housing and retail, and there must be more than just student housing and retail in the downtown area. I believe if City Council approves this high-rise, high-density student housing in the Cold Springs subdivision, and the city is effectively surrendering the downtown city of Clemson to part-time students and university. You cannot have city staff that are so pro-development that they lose sight of the city residents. Her comments do continue. We provided these in writing to City Council, and they are also on the record as well. So again, that was Ms. Irvin on Riggs. Okay, our next comment comes from Ms. Cheryl Combs on Riggs Drive. She writes, if 398 College is approved, Moda, and the hub will be throwing 1,100 vehicles into Clemson's traffic snarl at its worst junction. The 2 years before the hub and Moda were approved, Clemson, with less than 8 square miles, had a population density of more than 2,200 people per square mile, a median age of 24, and 850 vacant housing units. The university and its affiliates, with 50 square miles, had a density of about 400 per square mile, a median age even younger, and have been tearing down housing. The university created these problems, let it solve them, progress is more retail businesses, professional services, medical facilities, and family-friendly entertainment venues. It is not more student housing. And again, that's from Ms. Cheryl Combs on 101 Riggs Drive. The next comment was submitted by Mr. Brookover on, I don't have his address. I cannot be there tonight, but I send you each an email outlining in more detail the significant issues with the 398-400 PD as currently proposed. I am abbreviating them here so they can be read in the 2-minute time frame. Number one, there is little to no defensible basis for this project in our current comp plan and the Clemson Next Strategic Plan for Development, particularly in regards to the standard of protecting neighborhoods. A 5-story building on an R20 street at the entrance to an R20 neighborhood and directly across the street and right beside several residents is unacceptable. Number two, the 400 property is adjoining, not contiguous to the 398 property. Our PD ordinance differentiates contiguous and adjoining. Except in the case of annexation, contiguous and adjoining are different things. Therefore, the city should not set the precedent of allowing the adjoining property of 400 College, which is only 3/4 of an acre, to be included in and get the benefit of a PD. If the 400 College property was 2 acres, I'd be all for it, but it isn't, and for all the reason I outlined in my other email, it is an absolutely terrible and dangerous precedent to set that can allow for all kinds of bad development to occur within our R20 and R12 neighborhoods. Number three, you have no obligation whatsoever to approve this or any PD, and you definitely should not approve a PD with as many issues that go against our current plans as this one does. Please vote no to this proposal and work with the property owners and the developer or another developer to come up with a plan for these sites that works and is supported by Clemson Next and Uptown Next plans. And again, that's from Mr. Brookover. Our last comment comes from Dr. Richardson at 301 Edgewood Drive. She writes, Mayors of Council, I strongly oppose the 398 College Avenue project. When will we stop being so agreeable about adding luxury student apartments while avoiding the real need, affordable and workforce housing? That is what our city desperately requires if we want to grow into a truly thriving community rather than continue to move towards a transient suitcase town. If some existing complexes are already operating as short-term or VRBO-style rentals, as is the case with Dockside, then we must seriously ask, do we really need more student beds? Are other student complexes doing the same? However, if you decide to move forward with these projects, I urge you to require that they be built as traditional apartments, not purpose-built student housing. In addition, each unit should include at least 2 dedicated parking spaces plus guest parking. This approach would provide flexibility as the student population declines nationally, a trend already being observed. Clemson is not immune to these shifts. We also know that international enrollment across the U.S. continues to fall due to decreasing global interest in studying at top universities in the U.S. Planning now for a changing future will help us ensure that these developments can be repurposed to serve families and young professionals, the core of a balanced, sustainable community. I'm requesting that the full text of these comments be included in the minutes, as the state law does require that any minutes of council meetings include the substance of all matters proposed, discussed, or decided, and must also include other information that any member of the council requests be included or reflected in the minutes. And again, that's from Dr. Richardson at Edgewood Avenue. And that is the last submitted comment. Are there additional comments from the public who were present?
Good evening. My name is Shannon Sharkey. I live at 101 Pool Lane. The proposal that was made tonight to show the benefits to the community are questionable in my opinion. I would like to know what the actual benefits are to those that live in the community. The parking spaces listed for public use are actually inside of the building, and I'm wondering who is going to monitor those, who's going to add that to their patrol route, which traffic cops are going to go in there to make sure that they actually are available to the public, and that they're not going to just be the overflow parking for the residents that don't have a permanent space. I also wonder about this bodega. I think a bodega would be great. I'd love to have a grocery store downtown that I can walk to, but right now it's a promise. In a year, who is the person that's going to go back and say, you promised this was a bodega and not just empty retail space? As an educator, I think it is important to find houses for teachers. We need them in our community. But when you say the studio apartments could be for teachers, I do want you to ask, where are those teachers going to park without a dedicated space? Because they'll have to drive to any of our schools. And then what teacher actually wants to live in a studio apartment in downtown Clemson where the prices are extraordinarily high? I don't see that actually being something that happens. Our neighborhood's already crowded. I already live in a place where there are single family dwellings, but they have been bought by college students and multiple college students live there. And they're functioning almost as like mock sorority houses. I have 2 boys. I would like for them to be able to ride their bikes, for them to be able to take the school bus to school and a 5-mile trip not turn into an 1.5-hour drive because they're navigating the road closures. I appreciate what y'all do and for listening tonight. Thank you.
Are there any other comments from the public?
No more comments. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we consider the first reading of proposed plan development, 398 College Avenue as presented.
Second.
All right, comments?
Let me start. I'm going to be brief as far as the recitals of the various things that we've heard numerous times, and I'm sure we'll hear some more, but I will touch upon them. But I am going to say this as a developer whose by the name is LB, not just a developer, has done everything we've asked them to do. We need the parking garage. We need the 150 spots. The merchants downtown will tell you that. The churches downtown will tell you they need them. As far as the traffic is concerned, you know, we've seen these other garages, we've seen the traffic on the road, and we have seen the students walk and walk and walk and walk and walk. And they're not all going to come out of the garage at the same time. And they aren't all going to go to the grocery store at the same time. And they go to the grocery stores in pairs and threes and so on and so forth. If you go to the grocery store, as I do, you see them. As far as the streetscape is concerned, that is something that we have wanted for a long, long period of time, and now we have an opportunity to do that. There's some here that say they don't want it. I just struggle with that when I hear that, when it has the impact it does from a biking perspective and everything else. But the one thing about it, you know, we got to quit thinking about this in a 3 to 4 year period. We got to think about this in 15 to 20 years. I won't be around to see it. A lot of us around here won't be around to see it. But think Greenville. Think Greenville in 1975. Think what it looked like on Main Street, and think what it looks like today. And yeah, when you think Greenville, they managed to grow trees and concrete. Next, some things that we asked for too, as far as the configuration of the building, the 1s and 2s, and there are some studios, but I would imagine a lot of the 1s would be very, very appealing to people. As far as the 250,000, I don't know who scoffed at that number, but that number is going to go into a portion that will go into the housing fund, which you've already gotten from the Varsity Club, which is over $500,000. Well, I can personally speak to the fact that that money will be used towards helping us upgrade a lot of the homes in our black neighborhoods that we've been doing now for 5 years. So, I mean, don't scoff at the money. The city will use it like it should be used. As far as the grocery store, that was asked for, that's a get. And I'm glad to get it. We need it. We've been needing one downtown. But the one thing that I want to talk about the most is the fact that this is $9 million in benefits to the city. And it's not a bribe. Because at the end of the day, the garage is needed. At the end of the day, the streetscape is needed. If it's not done this way, if this is a no vote, then those $9 million, that parking garage, that streetscape, probably won't happen. But if it does happen, it's going to be funded by the city, and the city's going to end up having to raise the taxes to make it happen. We've done an excellent job of keeping taxes under control, and I don't want to go there. This is $9 million that's going to be coming to the city. And it will not impact you from a tax perspective. The last thing I want to say is it's a nice crowd tonight. It was a bigger crowd. And I question where you were when we were vetting and we were voting on the Varsity Club, which sits in the middle of Cadillac Heights, which, does everybody know where Cadillac Heights is? Because if you don't, it's behind the Ovalo. It's where the Varsity Club 1 and 2 is. But it also sits right in the middle of one of our black neighborhoods. And so now, I think it would be almost hypocritical for us to sit there and turn this deal down when we allowed that deal.
If you're not ready, you don't have to.
We can go from like we've done before, just left to right. Well, I guess it would be my right to left if you'd like, or you can pass, but I'd like to hear from everybody on council, obviously. I know the community would like to do that.
I think some of the comments we had at the last meeting, I continue to think about. I think I want to recognize a really strong iterative process. There have been a lot of good discussions between the developer, LV, and council and the planning group and staff to try to discuss what kind of things would make this project better. And I think that iterative process has made it a better project and more acceptable to the community. I think you're making some good comparisons when you compared this project to some of the others, but my exception to that is I'd rather not compare this project to other ones because I think I'd rather compare this project to optimal. So I definitely concede this project is better than the other ones that have been improved previously. I particularly feel like it's important for us to realize that particularly the 398 parcel, south versus north, although we'd like to have a park somewhere, we don't own that property. So that will be developed at some point. The question for me is, what is the right timing for the community? And as I said before, I'd love to see, I wish we could get some of our construction that we have happening now. I wish we could get more of that done to see what is our need and how much demand we have for housing. So the most significant thing though I'd like to think about is the fact that you have done some, at our request, some closely looking at the north parcel, the 400 parcel. And the community has said we want more non-student housing. And we're thinking about how to make that more non-student. So I'd like to see us strengthen that commitment to marketing that. I know we can't say to someone, we don't allow students, but I love your ideas about making that in the vein of Greenville, where adults, non-students want to be downtown Clemson. I think that is our future, to have both students and families mixed-use housing downtown. So I'd love to see that part. I mean, even ultimately, if we could make that, to go back to the original where you had the smaller building in the 400 zone. So that's my, again, appreciating what you've already looked at that. I love how you've reduced some of the numbers. But I think that's really important to the community. And I think it would be so wonderful to get to say to the community, we've approved a non-student facility for Clemson. I think that would be a huge improvement.
When I ran for city council, I talked about smart development, but more importantly, my desire to listen to residents and doing my research and due diligence on any project brought before us. I've read all the emails and letters, listened to residents at public hearing and planning committee meetings, talked with downtown business owners, and met with anyone that asked. As with any major project, there are pros and cons. I consider myself a rational, logical bear in the woods. The hard part is to take the emotion out of the decision-making process and not to be short-sighted, but to think 20 years down the road. I have a couple of points. Number one, Clemson is still dealing with the pent-up demand from the moratorium several years ago. Think Grand Mark, Dockside, the Hub. Number two, the university continues to increase enrollment every year with no intention of building dorms, thus adding to the already strong demand. According to information from the President's office, the 10-year growth plan shows all student housing to be inevitable. Number three, this is unique to us, and I call it Dabo economics. Our little secret in the upstate South Carolina is out. People are moving here and wanting to experience our charm. Again, adding to the already strong demand. Number four, regional pressure and growth. Businesses in the area are expanding. People are moving to the area and the state in record numbers, again, adding to the already strong demand. However, this project has students living downtown where they can walk to classes, freeing up some of the housing for professionals and not being used as student rentals. Until the strong demand for housing is dealt with, developers will continue to come and housing prices will remain high. 5, the city will receive over $3.8 million in one-time impact fee payments and a recurring or legacy revenue of a minimum of $1 million for taxes and business license renewal for many years to come. And finally, I would like to thank the city staff and the committees, the men and women that volunteered for the planning committee and the architectural review, for all their hours of hard work and dedication of bringing the best version of a project before us. Thank you.
I'll start how you somewhat ended. So I want to thank the Planning Commission, the Planning Department for all the hard work. There has been a lot of changes throughout. You heard my comments from the last City Council meeting. That needs to resonate, that there have been a lot of changes. So what I did is make sure, like everyone you've already heard from, and I know we're going to hear from others, just make sure we get the opportunity to hear from all residents throughout the city, the ones that are directly affected, the ones that are less impacted. I think that, majority when I talk, they realize that you can't completely stop housing, student housing, however you want to say it. Most understand that this land is going to be developed. It is zoned for housing, and simply we need to get the best product possible for our community. So my vote tonight is going to be highly influenced by the project itself, particularly in comparison which is permissible under current zoning. And I'll highlight a few things. If you look at 398, there's significantly increased buffers between the project and adjacent residential areas within the proposed building. There's increased rear and side setbacks. There's significantly more canopy coverage than required by zoning. 400, again, increased buffers and setbacks on both Strode and Knox as compared to straight zoning. And like I said, how can we do better? You get the mixed housing aspect component. So are there all the community benefits you've already heard from others? You'll hear from, we've all heard from them. While I'm thankful and appreciative of how we will benefit from a city, my vote is based on the fact that I believe this project is the best fit for the space and will protect our resident community better than the alternative.
I don't have as much to add because you guys have all made very good points, and I try not to be too repetitive, but I appreciate the work that everybody has put in, Nathan and staff, Planning Commission. I know we've all already lost sleep over this. We've done a really good job, I feel, communicating very clearly throughout this process, and I'm proud of that. The only thing I did want to call out, if you don't mind me addressing, Army Corps of Engineers has been involved in the process so far, right, about the water. So that is not something that I need to be concerned about. And all of the public feedback we've gotten has been very thoughtful, very considerate, and I actually took it upon myself to go out and seek out opinions from people who we don't normally hear from, that don't live in the neighborhoods, and also some that do, and some that live across the highway in the other side. And so when I cast my vote, I'll be doing that with what I feel is a very well-informed opinion based on a lot of people in Clemson. I tried to share that with you guys today. I'm sure I'll start getting more feedback as well. And we do vote a second time on this, so if I get different feedback between now and then, I'll also forward that along. So I just appreciate the respectful communication that we've had throughout this process. So thank you guys.
I'll just start in saying I appreciate all of the work and effort that went into this project. Planning Commission, our staff, as well as working with LP Collective. I also want to just make sure, from my perspective, one of the reasons that I did run for city council is because I always wanted to make sure that I heard the voices of our residents as well, and take that into consideration when making any decision. So one of the things that we talked about is our strategic plan and our vision for the university, for the city. So the city of Clemson will be recognized nationally for its excellent quality of life for all residents. So what I have to take a look at is, does this bring the quality of life for our residents at this particular time? We always talk about the numbers, the growth. One of the things that I'm always interested in seeing is, when we talk about the growth, are we talking about growth and is a priority the growth in terms of making sure that we have space for students, or are we talking about growth for our residents? And what are we doing to recruit more permanent residents to live here in the city of Clemson? Are we providing places for those folks to live? I've said it time and time again on council that we've had a hard time finding housing for people who want to live here, because people who work here may not be able to live here. They have to drive in. And that the few people who do live here, it's getting harder and harder to stay and afford. So we have a mass exodus of our residents and an influx of people who are not necessarily permanent residents. They come, they stay, and those type of things. So I just wanted to kind of talk about the enrollment numbers real quick. We always talk about our numbers being 29,077. That's how many residents we have at Clemson. Students. Undergrads is 23,401. And our grads are 5,676. But in the large scheme of things, face-to-face, full-time students is 22,627 students, 3,000 undergrads. And if you take that down even further, when we're talking about students, if you subtract the number of residents who live on campus, there are about 7,629 that live on campus right now. We're going to have 416 beds go online in fall of next year. So we're going to have 8,000 students live on campus. So we're totally looking at, probably, if we just look at the undergrad population specifically, we're talking about 14,998 students who would be in the immediate area. We're not talking 29,000. And then the question I was asking is, how many beds do we already have in the city that already can address how many students we have? So I was asking for those numbers. So when we had the numbers back in, I believe it was 2018, maybe 2019, we had almost 13,000 beds just in the city of Clemson alone. That has increased then because we didn't have the Grand Mark, we didn't have Youth Center, we didn't have the other buildings. So we probably have more than enough beds right now. And even if we plan for 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, a lot of what we're starting to do is online courses. When we talk about grad students, I'm a grad student, but I don't need to live in one of these units. So I'm a student at Clemson. But we have grad students who live throughout the state of South Carolina. So you have more and more students who are living in Charleston, you have students who live in Greenwood, Greenville, that type of area. So are we really, truly understanding the needs that this, so yes, there are a lot of good things that this project brings, but I have to also look at what is the overall benefit for our residents. We have this parking, but the realities are, we also hear people do not come downtown. People are not coming to the area. So what will attract our residents, not our students, our permanent residents back to the area? What is it about the area that will bring people back? Because if we're wanting to say that we just want to put student housing downtown, then I think that's what we need to always say, so that our residents understand that's what our priorities are, and not that we're trying to make that, because we did talk about this being the jewel, the heart, the center of the town, of areas. And I know there was a comparison between Varsity and this development. Varsity is not 8 stories or 5 stories. Varsity is actually a part two of what was already there, and they was expanding upon that development. So it was not that they were actually requesting a PD to rezone, that's R20, R12, so established neighborhoods that are already in existence. So that was not what that project was doing. Had that been the case, then it could have been a different conversations. And then in talking to some folks who did live in that community, I asked if they had specific concerns about the project, and they did not provide me with any. So that was one of the reasons. But for this particular project, I just wanted to make sure those are things that I look at. So investing in neighborhood preservation, those type of things. So that's what I would be taking a look at in looking at this project. So.
I apologize, I'm going to be a little bit repetitive, but when I campaigned for this seat, I made one promise above all others, and that was to always tell the truth. So let's talk about some truth. As your council member, I believe we have a fundamental obligation to you. That obligation is not to simply vote our feelings, but to conduct thorough research, use objective facts, and clearly explain the criteria that led us to our position. These aren't just the obligations of a council member, they're the obligations of any decent leader. To arrive at my position on this project, I intentionally set aside subjective emotion and focused on the objective facts and the documented path for our city. The first truth, this property will be developed. This property has been zoned commercial since 1972. The idea that it would remain undeveloped is frankly unrealistic. It has never been a question of if it would be redeveloped, it has always been when and how. A few years ago, a previous city council strategically changed the zoning in this district to limit the height to 3 stories for by right and zoning development. That is to encourage planned development. Why? To ensure the community could demand and receive real, tangible benefits in exchange for density. The second truth is that this project fits our city's blueprint. It fits our comprehensive plan. It fits Clemson Next. It fits Uptown Next, and it makes the downtown corridor plan a reality. We are not voting on a whim. We are voting on a project that has checked every single box laid out by the citizens and professionals of the city. The third truth, citizen leaders and staff vetted this plan. When the proposal was before the Planning Commission, the commission and the public offered feedback and criticism. That resulted in the developer making favorable changes to the plan. The Planning Commission then sent the project to City Council with a positive recommendation. The Board of Architectural Review also provided feedback and criticism, which again resulted in favorable changes and a positive recommendation by the BAR. These 2 boards are our citizen leaders who volunteer their time to help make our city a better place. Our highly qualified staff have also indicated that this project fits within all professional standards of development. The fourth truth, the project delivers robust community benefits. As you've heard from others on council, at the time this was presented to council, we're going to receive 150 parking spots, and the developer will complete the downtown streetscape from Key Street to Strode Circle. Last month, we held a public hearing to receive community input. A number of legitimate issues were raised. I listened, and I feel strongly for the residents. In each case, we worked diligently to find a solution and alleviate the objective issue. Safety and sidewalks. Concerns were raised about the safety of walking through the neighborhood. The development will begin and the city will continue the sidewalk through the neighborhood. Pedestrian safety is a core component of this project. Imposing structure and looming. We heard concerns that the building will impose upon the road and loom over the pharmacy. This project has large buffer yards and natural vegetation that will act to shield much of the structure. The setback from the pharmacy is around 70 feet, with a surface parking lot providing a substantial buffer. The canyon effect. The claim of a canyon effect is simply not accurate. The canyon effect is a mathematical model about microclimates created by tall buildings. This area does not fit that. It typically applies to skyscrapers and narrow urban streets. It simply doesn't apply here. Step down. The residents asked for a step down at the main building by Riggs Drive, and they got it. Noise and parking. The pool will have a wall to direct noise upward, and the parking deck will be completely surrounded by a firewall and the residences to mitigate noise and lights. Precedent on residential lots. The inclusion of a residential lot sets no precedent. Residential lots were included in the last unanimously approved student housing development. The Marriott Hotel, the Food Lion Project, and others. We have written legal opinion that this fits within the ordinance, and in this case, the residential lot is almost entirely turned into a buffer yard for the neighborhood. I understand and empathize with the fear of the building's height. To put this into perspective, we recently unanimously approved the Varsity 3 project, which has buildings of up to 65 feet directly across the street from residential homes in my own neighborhood and the Cadillac Heights neighborhood. That project is a few hundred yards from my property. I also drive by the 75-foot tall Marriott every day. At Riggs, the top height will be about 50 feet with significant vegetation and a road acting as a buffer. If I saw no reason for the new development in my own neighborhood to be an issue, and we all voted for it, I see no reason to deny this. Ultimately, this comes down to property rights. I believe strongly in the rights allotted to our citizenry. It is a defining characteristic of our great country. I will vigorously defend all of your property rights. I will also vigorously defend everyone's property rights. If you want the right to choose what happens with a property, you need to buy it. I would not want to live in a town where the city council chose who could have rights and who could not. When this project came before city council, we negotiated significant community enhancements, as others have detailed, a grocery store, non-student housing, community-facing retail, and funding for affordable housing. Several of us on council have worked to ensure that this project has robust community benefit. The plan has changed numerous times to make sure we provide the best for Clemson citizens. Now let's talk about what a no vote represents. It's no to our comp plan, which describes exactly this type of growth. No to Clemson Next, which is built on thousands of hours of citizen and professional input. No to the Downtown Corridor Plan, our plan since 2017. No to desperately needed downtown parking. No to the Planning Commission. Their input and professional opinions don't matter. No to the Board of Architecture Review. Their input and professional opinions don't matter. And no to our professional planning staff. Their input and professional opinions don't matter. No to having any voice at the table. A no doesn't make the development go away. A no just takes our voice away from the table. The development can still move forward by right. Ask our friends at Holiday Ave, who pass by Dockside every day. The by right option could include 624 beds and 376 parking spaces with an entry and exit onto Riggs Drive, dropping the traffic right into the neighborhood without any of the community benefits we secured. The saddest part of a no vote is the message it sends to our city. We would be saying that a working class and a disadvantaged African American neighborhood should accept large housing, student housing developments, but that an affluent white neighborhood where the mayor lives should be spared from development nearby. That no vote will let you know that a small group of folks actually run your town, not the best interests of the community.
All right, so at this time, we're going to do a roll call of votes. And I'll start like I've done before, my right to left, so Councilmember Fulmer.
Yes.
Councilmember Sherrill.
No.
Councilmember Evans.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Councilmember Scott.
Yes.
Councilmember Smith.
No.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for everybody's time. Next item on the docket is consider first reading. I will give it a few minutes, but it is first reading of proposed zoning map amendment of parcels located on Cochran Road. Jacob, you just give it 30 seconds, please.
Yes. Okay, so I presented.
30 seconds.
Oh, sorry, 30 seconds. Not 30, give me 30 seconds.
Yeah, 30
I thought the same
It's
thing.
the way I said it.
No
so
problem, that's my
just
fault. I
let
was like, okay,
everybody-
It sounded like he was giving you 30 seconds.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
I'm
that's,
going quick, okay.
no, hurry up, Jacob, 30 seconds.
I
No.
did not
I
articulate.
Yes.
No, I got it.
So, all right, Jacob, go ahead.
Okay, I presented this before you in front of for a public hearing, and there has been no changes since. This is a proposal to upzone the property to RM3, to be consistent with the comprehensive plan for that area and how the area is already developed. So you will see on all sides, there is already duplexes, townhouses, and apartments. Some of it is because there are now townhouses, used to be allowed to do townhouses in RM1, but are no longer. So the owner, Mr. York, who has owned the property since 1980s, is proposing to upzone it, and I don't believe has any intentions to develop himself, but probably will sell it and get out of the rental business, what he's been in there. But this did get approval from the planning commission and a positive recommendation from staff. With that, I will turn it over to anyone who wants to speak.
Questions?
Sorry,
Yeah,
I'll go ahead.
please,
Sorry.
please.
Is there a way for you to give a really clear definition of what RM3 multifamily is? Is that strictly duplex, triplex, townhome, or what's the
No, it
parameter?
can, so it's interesting. How it is set up, it does allow for multifamily as well as townhouses, but is clearly emphasized to do townhouses because you get higher density for townhouses than you can multifamily.
Got
It's
it.
very odd how it's set up, but you could do a small multifamily. If you'd rather do like a quadplex there or something, that would absolutely be allowed.
So it's, that definition of RM3 is based on the density on the size of the land?
Yes, as well as the number of occupants per dwelling unit. It only allows for up to 3 occupants, not the 4 bedrooms, the larger one live like that. But it more than likely, this would be developed in townhouses.
I think that makes sense for that neighborhood. I used to live back there in a townhome, and we were surrounded by townhomes, and we were surrounded by duplexes, and it is type of housing that is desperately needed in Clemson, and this seems kind of like a seamless transition between the lots on either side of it, so.
That is how we view it too.
Yeah.
That it would fit right in.
Right.
I'm driven here, I think this is an appropriate rezoning.
Other comments, questions? Comments
It's all
from,
matchy-matchy, right?
Correct, make it all matchy-matchy.
comments from the public?
I'm against this proposal also. Again, the town of Calhoun, part of Clemson, is very historical. They don't need any more townhouses, student housing. The traffic is always awful, especially at the intersection of Calhoun and 133. And I just don't think we need any more buildings there. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments? Somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion to approve the first reading of the proposed zoning map amendment on parcels located on Cochran. Do you need me to read the parcel numbers, or no?
You do not have to read
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Comments? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you. you very much. Other policy items, consider authorizing the city administrator to enter into a contract with AMIC Equipment for the purchase of a Model 435 street sweeper in the amount of $235,971. Oh, I see Cody in the back. You're hiding.
Hey, Cody, you sat through it all.
You're hiding in the back. I was looking for you, Cody. Come on up, if you're willing.
Thanks for being a trooper.
Oh, yeah, thanks for sticking through all that.
Absolutely.
You said he didn't have to be here.
I didn't have nothing else to
He
do
loves
tonight.
his
They canceled my
job.
son's baseball game.
You could watch paint dry and have something else to do.
So, yes, we have found a street sweeper that is much larger than the one we have now. I think we can cover a lot more area and get out of town.
So the one we have now is like a golf cart.
should be large.
Right. Like you said earlier, he wanted to come up here and try to climb in it before we got rid of it, so I want a video of that. That'd be good. So, any questions? I mean, on the purchase of this, we've got it on a source well contract, so no bidding happened, negotiation or anything like that. The smaller one we got right now, parts are becoming nearly impossible. Tenant no longer owns the green machine sweepers. They've sold it out, and they're not honoring any kind of parts or anything, so we're basically having to get them out of the States. We've got 8 brooms left on hand that might buy us to about December, January, and then we won't be able to get no more brooms for it.
So is this one ordered or
It says
available?
on the lot and ready.
It is ready. It is on the lot upon
Oh, yeah,
approval.
last bullet point.
And
On
it's
the
all
lot, right.
stainless steel in the back, so the lifespan of this one should last many, many years.
So you're gonna read more?
And it's new,
It's brand new.
brand new,
And
brand
just-
spanking.
I like to point out for public benefit, funds for this purchase are allocated in the budget. This is not anything
Yes.
Yes,
unexpected.
it is in the budget.
Yes.
This will make it really easy for us to make sure that all of our new bike paths are swept and kept clean, because we haven't had that equipment in the past, and the university's been nice enough to lend a hand in that regard. But, now we'll be able to do it on our own, and maybe they'll ask us for help.
Correct.
I like the idea of expanding the curb sweeping operations too, because there's definitely, if you don't do it for a long time, that's when you start to notice it. So it'll be an immediate difference.
Right.
This is a silly question, but is there a special license you have to drive or
Not
could
with
someone
this
like
one.
me drive
I
it
was
for
about to say,
fun?
trying to get in it.
It is a non-CDL, so we can use just about
Really?
everybody at public works in this vehicle.
All right,
Maybe they could do it in the bus and bring it down here before a meeting for you.
yeah.
You have a volunteer doing
I was just curious.
Cody,
No.
we appreciate you sticking it
Thank
out.
you,
Thank you
Cody.
for the information. Thank you. Please, like always, express to your team how much we appreciate
Yes,
what they're
sir.
doing.
Thank y'all.
Great retirement party. It's always hard to have a retirement party, or you've had 2,
Had 2,
but it's
one
great.
lot.
Well deserved, those 2 individuals. Comments from the public? All right.
Who retired?
Would somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we authorize the city administrator to enter into a contract with AMIC Equipment for the purchase of a Tomo Model 435 street sweeper in the amount of $235,971.
Second.
Comments, discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. Next is mayor, council reports, comments, new business. So we'll start with just reports and comments.
The girls 12 and under soccer team are going to state.
Also,
So,
Yay!
be sure to congratulate them and their coaches, Coach Raw and Coach Smith. If you see them, they have worked their little butts off, and we are very proud of them.
Great job.
About the week before Thanksgiving, they'll be down in Florence competing.
other comments? I will tell you, Saturday was the day of service for Pickens County. They partnered with Clemson University. They also incorporated some things in the Clemson community. So a lot of students out, which I love to see. There were some at Abel Cemetery, which was fabulous to see. And they also learned about the history, which I love to hear. So just FYI, there are a lot of students willing to volunteer. And Cody's head nodding. there are a lot of students that are willing to volunteer, and we are thankful that they are volunteering. And we don't have enough things for them to volunteer, so we're working on that. It is a good problem to have. New business. All right, would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
That was quick. Any comments or discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand.